Hey guys, Paulo Synthmania. IK Multimedia just released the editor for the UNO Synth. It works as standalone or as a plugin on PC, Mac, and I downloaded it, play with it, and let's review it. And the best way to do that, we're gonna make a few sounds using the editor and make a song with it. And here the setup that we're using. I have the UNO Synth connected via DAM MIDI to this M-Audio Axiom 61 controller keyboard, and also both units go to the computer. And the UNO Synth is connected to the editor. Let's take a look at the editor. Alright guys, this is the UNO Synth editor, and this is a really great way to have all the parameters of the UNO Synth at your disposal. As you can see, the UNO Synth has 4 main knobs here, and then one for the cutoff, tempo, and volume. But with the editor, you have a lot of more knobs, and it's a lot easier to program. Let's go with a quick review of each section. Up here, we have the oscillator section, 2 oscillators with various waveforms and PWM. That can be modulated by the LFO, and also you can modulate the shape of the waveforms with the LFO. Going into the mixer, very standard for any synthesizers, and there's a noise section here, and it goes to a multi-mode filter, which has low pass, high pass, and band pass, and drive. The envelopes are here for the filter, ADSR, and amplifier, ADSR, with a graphical representation of the shape. So if you move each knob, it will tell you where you are in the waveform shape, like that. LFO section, several types of waveforms, and assignable to pitch and filter. There is a glide section, pitch bend, which is also called portamento, pitch bend section, the delay section, and then the panel buttons here, which allows you to control the amount of dive, scoop, vibrato depth, wah depth, and tremolo depth. And down here you can let me make this smaller. Down here you can change a scale from chromatic, major, minor, to all kinds of Dorian, all kinds of different Japan, all kinds of different scales. Turn on the arpeggiator and the types of arpeggiator here. And also there's a visual representation of the keyboard of the UNO Synth. And of course, this is synced to the machine. So when you play on the keyboard, it plays on the application as well. Now, one cool thing that it's here, they call it the carousel. You have a really quick access to all 100 patches on the UNO Synth, and also works with the up and down arrows. So you can call up the different presets. And also here you have what they call a toaster icon, which gives you more information as far as the MIDI settings and the version and interface and so forth. And the moment you edit a parameter, of course, as standard, little asterisks appear by the name of the patch. So let's reset to factory number 1 here, and as soon as you start moving something and changing the sound, you will have this. And then of course you can save it. And by the way, I saved just for me, I created a folder called UNO Synth Factory Patches, and I went one by one, 1 to 100, and saved all the original 100 patches that come with the synth, just in case I want to recall them later. So it's very easy to do. You just hit save. So say you change this patch here, and you want to save it, and you give it a name, There you go. You can also load a patch, same thing. And also you can store a patch if you want to move a patch from one place to, if you don't want to save it to the computer but you want to save it into the synth itself. Say you want to save this patch to patch 25, you do store, you give it a name, and then you select the slot 25 and you press save and it goes there. Very cool. Alright, now let's try making some sounds. Alright guys, here we have the patch number 1 on the UNO Synth Editor, and we're gonna try to edit this patch. This is what it sounds like by the factory. And it's got the filter cutoff routed to the mod wheel, so it goes like this. That's a really cool patch, but let's just try to make something completely different. So let's try with the PWM patch. Let's go to the mixer area here and let's turn off oscillator number 2 for the time being, so we focus on oscillator 1. This is oscillator 1. Let's lose the delay just for the time being. And also let's tweak the release. Let's set it to 0 so it cuts off really fast. Cool. Now let's change the waveform. Let's navigate towards the pulse right there. And this is what it sounds like. And let's set it to the PWM, modulated by the LFO. This is the rate of LFO. Let's lower the resonance, it's really aggressive right here. Let's open the filter. A little bit less LFO. Slower. And this is cool. Now let's focus on the second LFO. Let's do something similar there. Again, let's go from saw towards the square pulse. And let's see the difference between the LFO affecting the shape of the waveform rather than the PWM. If we leave it at shape, still a cool sound. It changes the shape back and forth of the waveform, but let's set it to PWM as well. Now turn on the other oscillator and mix them. Let's open up the filter cutoff. Now we got a really fat, like techno PWM sounds. And we can add some delay back. That's a pretty cool sound. So all we need to do is to save it. So we hit save, and I'm gonna go one folder up. I'm gonna create another folder that UNO Synth, let's say Paolo patches, and let's call this PWM Synth, like that. There. Now we saved it. Now, even if we get out of this mode and we go to patch number 2, which is completely different. This patch 2. Now, if we go to patch 1, it has reset to the factory patch, but we can load it to patch number 1, like this. And now we got the PWM synth. Alright, it's cool. Let's try to do another patch. Alright, let's go for another sound. Let's create a synth-based sound. Again, we're starting with this number 1 template. Which is an acid-based type of sound. Let's see what we can do to make it become more like a synth bass. First of all, let's turn off the delay and also the release of the envelope here. Let's also lower the drive of the filter and the resonance. Increase the envelope amount, and let's vary the decay of the filter. A little bit more resonance. Okay. Let's change the waveforms. Let's put a different waveform on the first oscillator here and the second. Let's detune them a little bit. The sustain of the filter. That's a pretty cool sound already. We can also assign velocity to the filter. So the filter opens and closes according to the velocity of the keyboard. So there's a little bit of glide here, which I don't mind at all. Let's see without glide. Let's leave some glide in there. Yeah, it's pretty good synth bass stuff. Let's save it. Synth bass. All right. Now, if we revert back to the first sound and let's load it. it's back. Alright, let's do some percussion patches. I'm starting with this 70 preset and just tweaking it a little bit, and you have really cool percussion sounds. And actually, by just switching the filter type, you get different types of snare and bass drums. And you can change the decay of the amp to make it larger or smaller. And the BP and HP does a clap type, like a snare. And so you get the idea. This editor is really powerful and fast to create cool sounds. This patch number 7 also uses the high pass filter. It's a really cool sound. I just wanted to go through some more of the features of this editor. Like the LFO here has a lot of waveforms and you can change them. So if you assign it to the pitch, you can change the shape of the LFO. Random. You can do the same thing to the filter. So you have the sample and hold. And again, the different types of filters are really cool. And of course the delay is always cool to be added to the sound. Bandpass. And of course you still can use the dive and the scoop. You can jack them to the max so they're really obvious. Let's select the LP. And so you get the idea. With the editor, the UNO Synth becomes really flexible and it's easy to create new sounds very quickly and save them, store them, recall them quite easily. So if you have a UNO Synth, definitely download the editor, and it's free and allows you complete control of the machine. And as you can see in here, it's really easy to use and fast. I will leave you guys with a song completely done on the UNO Synth with patches that I created using the editor. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next video.